Well, hello, everyone. Welcome back to Confidence Strategies 101, where we focus on really getting to know our guests and what they do and why they do it. My name is Carmen Milagro, and I'm a confidence strategist, a CBD educator. I'm an entrepreneur artist, amongst other things. So we'll just leave it at that. As always, I love it when you comment and share and, just join in the discussion. So, if you're able to and make some comments, let us know you're here. We'd love to hear from you. I will probably get to the comments after the show, but I promise that I will. So that's always my promise. As always, our webisode is sponsored in part by Music City Hit Factory. So thank you so much. I am once again here in the studio under construction, surrounded by all kinds of hard hats and all kinds of things going on here. But in the evenings, it's quiet so that we get to have some time together. Confidence Strategies, as some of you know, it's designed, this platform, this gathering on Tuesday nights at 7:00. I want to share and showcase positivity. I want to be able to introduce you to coaches and leaders, executives, entrepreneurs, designers, artists, musicians, all of whom are already living their best life, and they're willing and able, and they come on and they're able to just share some of their insights, some of their tools, some of their perspectives, in the hopes that we can potentially inspire you. That's really, at the end of the day, that's why I do what I do on Tuesday nights on Confidence Strategy. So tonight's guest, I'm super excited. I've already worked with her on a big project, and that's how I got to know her energy and her creativity, and most of all, her wonderful, kind heart under sometimes what can be stressful situations. You're putting a huge event together. This was an international, streaming all across the world event. And sometimes things can get a little tough. And that's when people's personalities, what they shine, whether they shine or if they're a little bit hard to get along with. Well, she was the consummate, gracious partner. She kept us all together, I think. And she is one of the lead ambassadors. So we're going to talk about that a little bit. She's ready to go. So I'm going to bring her back. And we were chatting in the green room, the virtual green room, just a little while ago. But before I bring her on, I just want to tell you a little bit about her so you know who she is. She is a speaker, a mentor, a life purpose and leadership coach. She's founder of Destiny Women Global Leadership. She is the lead ambassador for the Women's Economic Empowerment Global Live. I think that's the title. We'll have to ask her. And she has also authored a book, and it's called Butt Naked Leadership: Having the Courage to Discover Your Purpose and Live Out Your Destiny with Confidence. So now you can clearly understand why I invited her to be a guest on the show tonight. I'd love to introduce you, everyone, to Miss Sonia Hassey. Sonia, welcome to the show.
Hello, and thank you so much for having me here. And I was just thinking, I love her passion. I love your heart. That we're definitely kindred spirits on
Yes,
purpose and passion and authenticity. So thank you for having me.
I'm excited that you're here. How are you?
I am doing great. I am doing great, working from home these days and doing events, doing stuff like this virtually, which is completely a brand new thing to me because I usually do live events. And it's been interesting, but I've been enjoying them.
Yeah, it's a different way to do what we used to do, right?
Yes.
I mean,
yes.
I'm like you. I think we're pretty social. I love the events, the in-person events, but we also have to be able to adapt.
Exactly.
I think that's
moving forward.
Right, exactly. And that's how you thrive.
Yeah.
Sonia, if you don't mind, before we jump into our first segment, I was wondering if you can fill us in on your background, sort of what other jobs and careers have you had?
Mhm.
Where did you grow up? How did you end up in, I think you're in the Sacramento area. Is that
Yes.
right? Right.
Yes.
How did you end up, in the capital? Like just a little backstory before.
Okay, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay. So, well, I was born and raised in Sacramento.
Ah, okay.
Yes. So I'm a native here for sure. And so, well, I was a hairstylist actually for 32 years.
Oh, well, that explains why you look so beautiful all the time.
I was a hairstylist and I absolutely loved being a hairstylist. However, during most of the time as a hairstylist, I was a very insecure person. But needless to say, it's just really incredible how your divine purpose, that calling is still in you, regardless if you are feeling insecure and struggling in life. I saw my passion as I was speaking to my clients and talking about their passion, and I was realizing that for years I was actually coaching and I was changing people's lives, but I really had no idea. And I'll never forget, even driving home thinking, wow, I made somebody feel so good today, or wow, they discovered what they really enjoy in life. But why do I come home sad? And why do I come home? And I was very conflicted for so many, many years. And
Right.
so I loved what I did, but this was the inner work that was lacking inside of me for
Sure.
years. And so, I'm going back years ago, like 15 years ago. Um, well, a little over 10, I would say. I remember helping my daughter at her youth leadership program. And I remember being asked, like, do you want to help out? And I'm like, oh, me, why would they want to ask me to help out? But I was always there supporting my daughter in youth leadership. And lo and behold, I ended up teaching youth leadership for 4 years, here in the Sacramento area. And I will tell you, for me, even to this day, it is one of my greatest accomplishments because, as we all know, with youth, you're either going to bore them or you're going to inspire them. There's no way, there's no in between. It's like they're going to be on fire, or they're just going to they're not coming back. They're
Right.
just not coming back.
And they'll let you know. And they'll let you know. And that's another thing that we have in common. We had talked about it while we were in the green room, but I didn't know that this was also a part of your, sort of where you started and the roots of everything. So that makes me really happy.
Yeah. So I ended up having 15 students. And for those 4 years, I had these students. And actually, one of them right now to this day, as we speak, is a global leader. And most of them are doing great. I even had a gang member, I'll never forget. And I was just discussing this with somebody today. And I remember going up to his mom and I was saying, can I be his spiritual mom? I said, I will do the best that I can, but we need to get him out of the gangs. We need to do this. Well, he stayed in my class for 4 years. He ended up graduating from high school, graduating from college, and then working for the Apple company. And he ended up getting married and just having an incredible life, completely succeeding where his life could have turned around for the worst. And so that's where it began. Like when I talk about leadership and the fulfillment and seeing the youth, but during I think there was like a year interim of me not teaching or anything. I remember feeling, okay, Sonia, I'm still a hairstylist, but I just felt a void still. It was just incredible. Like I personally still felt a void. And right before I ended that leadership, teaching leadership, we ended up going to this huge youth conference. And I remember seeing there was a guy speaker, and he was on the podium. And I remember just being against the wall and and he was just speaking, with just so much power. And he was like, it's so empowering, these kids and I'm talking like 200 kids, and they're just there, and they're just like, oh my gosh, like totally, in tune with this guy. And I'm thinking, oh, I want to that, like, that's the impact I want. I remember thinking that, and I remember being deathly afraid, but I had the courage to go up to him. As soon as he was done, I went on stage. I didn't even ask him his name. I just said, how do you do what you do? I will never forget that. How do you do what you do? And he just looked at me and he said, he goes, I'm going to go to the Philippines in 2 weeks, for 2 weeks with my wife. He said, and if you come with me, I'll mentor you night and day. I can't even explain to you what happened, except I felt like, what word can I use? Like the baby leaped in my womb of like destiny was like, the chance, girl, take it. And I knew that was my time. And 2 weeks later, I'm on a plane with 2 strangers, and we're on the way to the Philippines. And we were there for 2 weeks. He mentored me, he coached me, and I came back completely transformed and hungry to learn, hungry to grow. I felt like just like this, the veil came off, and I'm like, opportunity, life, like, oh my gosh, like there's so much more to life. Oh my gosh. And so
it's like the Sonia revelation.
Right? I know. Exactly. So then after that, I just remember going to a library and getting the Napoleon Hill, the Dale Carnegie, Andrew Carnegie books. I started getting all these books, and I'm like, oh my goodness, this is absolutely incredible. Then I started traveling the country and going to conventions and stuff like that for myself. And so I did that for a full year. And I started realizing that being a hairstylist was not my passion anymore. Like literally, the operations of a hairstylist, I still wanted to mentor and coach, but it wasn't being behind the chair anymore. And so then I went to Texas and became a life coach and a speaker. Took the Dale Carnegie course, and built my speaking and everything, and so that's where it started. And so I'll give you one more little bit where it like
there's more.
Oh my God! So then, okay, so Sacramento. I don't know where Lodi's at. Do you know where Lodi? Okay, so before Lodi is a Campo. Before a Campo is this small town called Galt. I was there. I raised me and my husband at the time. We raised our kids there for 15 years. Right. Very small town. And I remember I started going to a little business, what do you call it? Network. A little business network. And I'll never forget, the president of that network said, Sonia, why don't you open a woman's business here in Galt? And I was like, oh my gosh, like, why did he call me out of the other 2 women, Why did he call me out? But something was like, what? And so I went to the president of the men's club, and I asked him if we could have coffee. I said, I just want to see how you started,
Right.
Anyways, following Monday, I went, had coffee with the president. He brought the president of the chamber. He brought the newspaper, the photographer and the editor of the newspaper. I brought 2 friends. And so he said, Sonia, it's really easy. He brought the salt and shaker. He goes, you start here, you do this, and you do this. This is how we do it. You could start that way and then just take off from there. So the president said, Sonia, I'll find you a venue. I'm like, wait, oh my, I don't know how to do this. And I said yes.
Yeah, of course.
And so the following week, we were on the front page saying, Sonia Hassey is starting a women's organization. I thought, oh my goodness, like, wait, what? And I thought, well, this is my chance. This is my chance. And I had 15 leaders from Galt For 2 years, we held an event once a month of over 100 women.
Right. That's
And it
incredible. Oh
started
my
there.
gosh, that's so exciting. Thank you for sharing that insight, because there's a couple of things that I really picked up on. One, I love the fact that you said you realized that you no longer had the passion for being a hairdresser anymore, which implies that you always have another option, that we don't have to be stuck just because we started on one journey doesn't mean that we can't hang a left or make a U-turn, or I
Absolutely.
love that, the
Yeah.
fact that you weren't feeling it anymore.
It
So
wasn't in my heart. It
right.
wasn't. And I think what's also important is that nothing lasts forever. And there's seasons in our life, like, well, the youth leadership didn't last forever. That was just a season. That was just to spark that fire in me, right? And I do believe that being a hairstylist for 32 years, that was a season as well. You see,
Exactly.
however, do you see it was still there? I was
Yeah,
still
of course.
pouring into people, but it was actually becoming that hairstylist where I caught myself being so tired when I never used to be tired. Like, "Oh, I'm exhausted. I want to do this anymore." So you're
I love it.
absolutely right. We should always know that there's going to be a pivot. And it's never too late, because I did start my ultimate passion a little bit later,
But it's never
but
too
with
late.
experience now, and we still grow and learn, but
Yeah, of course.
yeah.
And the thing is, right, is the experience that we gain while we're doing all these other things before we figure out what the next phase of our life is, it's all relative. It's all important because it's part of our learning. I just want to give a quick shout out to Ricardo. Thank you for tuning in and watching, and he's sharing it. He started a watch party for us, so thank you. But the second thing that I loved about, you're sharing your backstory with us, Sonia, is this whole idea of when there is an opportunity that is just right there. There's a lot of times and a lot of reasons. It's not a judgment statement, but there's a lot of times where people don't take that opportunity. And I'm a firm believer, I have done exactly what you've done, and most of it has led me to the next phase, to the next project, to the next important connection, and just the next joyful moment in my life. Yes, there are some times where it doesn't work out, but to live in fear and not take opportunities, I'm not of that thought. I'm not of that school of thought at all.
Yeah, exactly. No, I have missed many prior because
Right.
of my lack of confidence. I have seen opportunities before, and I remember it breaking my heart, but I'm like, I just couldn't do it. I just didn't. I just couldn't put myself out there. I was just so
Yeah.
scared. I was just so scared.
And
And you
right,
know,
of course, and we weren't ready, and maybe it wasn't the right one. So
right.
there's all the things that happen, right? We
Yeah.
have to be prepared in whatever shape, whatever that looks like. But it's also about knowing you, and that's the work that I do. A lot of it with young people
Sure.
is, and I've said this before. The work that I do focuses on who are you. Where are you headed?
Yes.
Why are you doing it?
Yes,
And the
absolutely.
overall, the number one question, right, is, are you really in it?
Oh, I love it.
Are you is your mindset, are
Yeah.
you really in it? Because without those things, I've seen adults, men and women, who are professional, they're successful, but they still don't know who they are. So they're like all over the place, and you can't figure out, wow, I just, and you feel for them, and sometimes you want to collaborate with them and work with them, and it doesn't work because like I would imagine, you are very clear on what you are going to set out to accomplish. I like working with people like that.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, there's no greater fulfillment. And it's not to say life is perfect, but
No.
I'm talking about the truest fulfillment is knowing who you were created to be. Because there's no one in this entire planet that's going to do it like you. I mean, there's thousands and thousands and thousands of coaches, but no one's going to do it the way I do it. No one's going to do it the way I am called to do it. And I know that I know that there's a knowing, and before, when I was trying to find myself and I was trying to find my way, I was scared. I was so scared. But what I do want to say is do it scared and do it even if you don't know, because that's how you're going to find out. You're not going to find out in your comfort zone. You're going to find out when you cross over and you're like, okay, this isn't it. All right, that's not it. Now you know.
Right.
So now you do take
Exactly.
another chance.
Exactly. But and what I was getting at is, though, when you know your purpose, it can look, and you're, like you said, you may try different things, but that core will never waver
Ever.
of who you are. You won't compromise.
No.
You won't, like it, once you know who you are.
Yeah.
I love this. Oh gosh, we need to talk some more.
It's such a sureness. It's the why you were talking about, the why, like, why were you born? This is my why. This is why I was born. And I want to do it with full authenticity, and just give as much as I can to the world. And I can't even stop now. I just can't. And I think we have to know that we know to not let people get in the way that would try to hinder you because they don't know theirs. It's
Right.
like you go and we have to stay in our lane and do what we're called to do on this planet.
Right.
And that's it.
Right.
And
Absolutely. When you were growing up, was there someone that did help or did try to coach you or mentor you or nurture that confidence? Because I know that you said that before you are where you are now, that you were scared, but somewhere, something, there was a little seed planted by someone or something that you read. Was there, can you recall that moment where that it was there? It just had to be, it had to flourish, and it did, clearly.
yeah. Well, in my early years, I'm going to say no. I'm going to absolutely say no. I was in depression for a little over 20 years, a really horrible depression. So, and I didn't have anybody that I could honestly say, you got this, keep going. And I think that was something that I was wanting, but I didn't even know what I was wanting. It was just the weirdest thing. And I had a beautiful family. From the outside, you would have thought, wow, the great, beautiful family. And I'm being the best mother that I can be and the best wife. But deep down inside, I was bleeding. Number one, I didn't have any confidence. I sabotaged my own mindset. And I can honestly tell you, when I try to think, because that I have pondered, what your question is a great question. And I have pondered it. I'm like, wow, I could honestly say it was the power of prayer. I'm just going to have to be honest that it was me digging that deep and in that prayer time, asking God, what is my purpose? And then having also that person show up in my life to say, let me mentor you. I think that was my breaking point. And because I was hurting so much, I felt like it was my life raft.
Right.
I have to take that.
Right.
No matter what the cost, I have to take that. And I took it.
Wow. That's pretty powerful what you've just described. And I hope that, everyone watching and listening can really listen and play it back if you have to what Sonia just said, because that is really deep. I'm going to take it one step further, if you don't mind, because I think for me, like when you said you went so deep and it was the power of prayer, it always, in my opinion, that is you. Your reserve that you went so deep was within you. And
It's
I,
within.
right? It's always like that Wizard of Oz moment. It was all you always had it. It was
Absolutely.
just the circumstances and that moment and the years, but it doesn't matter how long it took. What
Mm-mm.
matters is that you did it.
I did it. I had the courage to dig deep and to ask those simple questions that you're asking. Who am I? And why am I here? That was like my biggest question in my prayer. Like, why am I here? I don't want to suffer anymore. And it's an internal suffering. And why am I here? And it actually, that experience, like once I really started digging deep, it actually became a very beautiful experience in my life, because it was like being born again, and it was discovering like the flowers really yellow and the flowers really pink, and when I didn't see the bright side of life, I was able now to see the bright side of me. I was able to see like, wow, Sonia, you are likable. You have a
Oh,
unique, you know what I mean? Like you have a
yes,
unique personality. Like there's,
yes.
I and before, like now I do have a ton of energy, and I love to be present wherever I go. But if you talk to people that have knew me back then, they'll be like, you have changed so
Yeah.
much. You are not the person that I couldn't even look at you in the eyes. I was that insecure. Like I could not even look at you in the eyes because I didn't love myself, and I sabotaged myself, and I judged myself. And because I was sabotaged myself, it was easy for me to sabotage people and to judge people. And that is because it gives us a distorted view of others. If I don't love me, and if I don't see the goodness in me, how am I going to see the goodness in you? It will be a distorted lens.
Sure.
And I'm beyond grateful that that distorted lens was taken off of me, so that I can see the light in others, and I can appreciate life, and I can appreciate people. So
Oh,
this
that's
is the fulfillment that I'm talking about. It's like I love meeting new people. I just love it so much. I love meeting people. I love being around people. And it's beautiful.
I probably can't help but love you too. This energy, I can feel it across the laptop. I love this. But let's get into a little bit about your book,
Okay.
because your title, I'd love to, and we didn't talk about it in the green room, so this is the
Right.
first time that I'm going to hear it as well.
Yeah.
But your title, right? Like, there's
Yeah.
a reason why you decided to name this book "Butt Naked Leadership: Having Courage to Discover Your Purpose and Live Out Your Destiny with
Yeah.
Confidence." So, what's the story behind that? Why did you choose that title? And I know that I'm assuming that it covers, you know, branding yourself, positioning yourself, plus, of course, leadership. But, well, that's the first part of that question.
Yes. Okay. Well, like I said, I was in Galt for 2 years, and I was doing big events. Well, I outgrew Galt, so I ended up bringing the network to the Sacramento area. Well, by the time I came to the Sacramento area, I evolved in the sense of, instead of having women doing the work and doing all this, I realized that they needed growth as well. So then I started the leadership program in Sacramento. And I was like overzealous at the time. Like I'll never forget, and having like 15 women, and I'm saying, okay, you guys, instead of using the word authenticity, Yeah, I would say butt naked. So we're going to get butt naked here. And we're going to really talk about this pain. We're going to really talk about what gets in the way, because we need to get out of our own way. And that was my lingo. It was like every week when we met, it's like, all right, Sonia, we're going to get butt naked. So that was how I butt naked leadership. And you know what's funny is I was in Sacramento for 2 years, and I stopped saying that. So I was like, okay, well, that's kind of weird, because I don't even use it anymore. But it was in Sacramento for 2 years where I just like pounded these women about being butt naked, authenticity. Anyways, I chuckle at that now. I'm like, wow, I never even use that.
And you're an international bestseller with that book, right?
Mm-hmm. And yeah, it's funny. I started reading it today. And I was like, wow, it's really incredible, because this is my heartbeat. This is my story. I gave you some of it's in the book. And I am just like, I just created a webinar, a free webinar. And I'm like, it's just incredible how, like we were talking about your calling and whatever you're called to do. I'm like, wow, a lot of this is in the webinar. Like, this is like incredible. And this is like way, like 2 years later, it's still there. Like, it just follows me, like my calling, my mission, everything is just still there. So
well, I do believe, like we were talking about earlier, when you know it, when you are 1,000% aware and you know what it is that you're supposed to do, you can't get rid of it.
You can't.
You just can't. Everything you do is based on that core principle, in my opinion.
Your core beliefs, your core principles. And when you know them, that is part of one of the titles, is branding you. It's not what you do, it's who you are. Okay. It's not, the product. No, people buy you, they buy into you, and it goes back to you just said it. It's the core. It's the core values of who you are. It's your belief system, and you being authentically with full integrity on that road, and that's where you're believable. And that's where you're likable, because people feel you.
Yeah. That's exactly it. It's no different than being in music.
Yeah, absolutely. It's
very, very similar.
I just, I love it. I'm going to finish reading my book. It's just very interesting how
to go back to it, right?
Yeah, this was actually like 4 years in the making, and then I finally finished it. But just reading, I'm like, oh wow, it's kind of weird, but kind of interesting at the same time.
No, that's wonderful. And if you don't mind, what would you, from your own personal perspective, from your own personal viewpoint, what is the number one issue that women come to you for, and what's your response to that issue? Just nothing, just sort of like the number one thing that you find time and time again that women come to you for advice.
Knowing their purpose.
It is
knowing their purpose. That feeling lost, like, I think it's this, I've been doing this for years, but it didn't settle, like it hasn't settled. And so that's where I think people get stuck in being all over the place, because they have not found their conviction. There's also a conviction in your passion and everything, and they haven't found that. And so I think that's what I absolutely love coaching and mentoring, is that. And a lot of it from my own experience, because I do the deep work, a lot of it's because there's so much layers of pain and life that has happened, that at the core, they haven't discovered. Remember, I told you, like, I can finally see the pink flowers and the yellow flower. I couldn't see them because I had all these layers all
Sure.
these layers of self-sabotage of life happening to me, and me taking it in as my fault, and whatever I just took in that was negative. So
Right.
when you have so much stuff in your head, it's very difficult for you to really see at such a deep core level what that divine purpose is. So it's working through those layers.
Right. Exactly.
Mhm.
Do you only work with women?
I do work with men, few, but I do enjoy it for the fact that I think it's such a blessing for men to say, I haven't discovered my purpose and I want to, you know?
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
So I think it's incredible. Yes, I have, but definitely mostly women,
Right.
mostly women. Yeah.
And if you were to say that, what's the biggest challenge that you've encountered as a leadership coach, as a mentor? Like how sometimes, let's say you're doing an event or you're writing a book or whatever, and then besides getting in our own way, because we all do that to
We all
some
do that.
degree, right?
Yeah.
But what's an external challenge that you've been faced with, and how did you overcome it? Like a big one. Juicy one.
Okay.
Give us a juicy one.
I would probably say publishing the books has been that was my tough one. I think when you have a dream, like I want to accomplish something, but you don't even know where to start. I think that has been a big challenge. And it's me breaking through that fear, that mounting fear of you don't know what you're doing, you know nothing about it, to stepping back, doing the research, and asking for help.
Right.
Asking
Beautiful.
lots of questions, asking for help, because you got to get to that point. And that I feel like that's like humbled me a lot, because nothing's come easy to me. All of it, even like, how do you start a women's program in golf? I don't know, but I'd have to ask
But
for
I'm going to
help,
do it.
and not only ask for help, but make the mistakes.
Right.
Because
Right.
when you don't know what you don't know, you've never done it before, you're going to make mistakes. And so just failing and failing fast, and just like, okay, gosh, let's do it this way. This book right here, I have tried to publish it about 6 times and it failed.
Right.
Okay. So and I wanted it in Amazon. And it kept coming back. It would spit back out. And I'm like, why? And I had to learn it. I'd have to go back and like, what mistake am I making? And I would just go through the grind and figure it out.
Right. Exactly. And you did. And that's the thing. You don't give up. Right?
Persistence.
Persistence. Sure.
Persistence.
I love what you said just a minute ago about, you're going to learn and you're going to fail fast. I love that, because I use the term, you're going to fail forward.
Yeah.
You've got to try some things,
Yeah.
and they're not all going to work.
Wow.
But if you catapult yourself from that point and you fail forward, meaning learn the lesson that you're
Learn
supposed
the
to,
lesson. Mm-hmm.
right? And then keep going. You get up. I had a friend of mine who was the drummer for over 32 years with B.B. King. And he tells the story, Mr. King fired him 7 times, but he hired him back 8.
Oh, see.
So, right, you can't give up. But I think it's really good to be practical and pragmatic. And I believe that those failure forwards are designed to teach you how to keep going forward.
Yes.
It's not always easy. And, you get really bloody skin knees sometimes.
Oh, yes.
But
frustrated, probably crying at times.
Exactly.
Oh, no, not kidding. Remember I told you I published 2 books 2 weeks apart. They were almost twins. And I had surgery during that time. I was in the hospital for 6 days, and I'm like, these books need to be published. How do I do this? Oh God, please help me.
Right.
I know I can do this. I know I got to do this. You know, I've all these women like are waiting on me, and that
Right.
books,
You did, right?
the deadline, and I just said, I'll be in painkillers for only 2 days. After that, get
Right.
the books, get to
Right.
the editing, and every hour counted. And so it's just that persistence. You just got to say it's going to get done. I completed a webinar. My very first webinar I think it's almost 40 minutes long. What's supposed to take 8 weeks took me 6 months.
Right.
So I'm just sharing, being honest. I'm being butt naked. Like,
Right.
you have to just
Thank you.
be persistent.
Right.
You have to just, what do you want? If that dream doesn't stop, it's there, it's in front of you, and you know that you're supposed to do it, do something about it tomorrow. Take that very first action step. Now, okay, did you do it? Okay, wonderful. Now take the next one. Oh, great. Now take the next step. And that's how we accomplish things. But just keep it in our head is not going to accomplish anything. You just got to do it.
Exactly. I know. I love that. I do want to get to what I'm calling the quick round, the Q&A, but I have one more question for you regarding, because you and I met during the Women's Economic Global Live event. That was my second time working.
That was mine too. So 2 years ago.
Okay. Yeah. And so tell us a little bit about you, because is it right? Did I get it right? You're lead ambassador now for the organization.
Yes.
What is that? If you can tell us briefly what that entails and why you're so passionate about it.
I'm passionate about it because, number one, I absolutely love community. You know, I came from being afraid of people and life and everything to now just loving life and loving people, and absolutely love bringing connections together. And, you know, I've talked a lot with Roxana. You know, we've gotten to know each other, and she's like, you know, she thought I would be a great fit for it, you know, to just come in.
I agree.
To help just bring that bridge. And, you know, I let her know I'm just me. I'm not, there's nothing fluffy. Like, I'm just gonna, you know, if I do video, I'm just gonna be me. You know, I don't want to pretend I'm someone else. I'm just here to bring connections and to just bring the realness in the woman, because that's where the power is. Do you agree? It's like,
100%.
Do you really want to know? Yeah. Like, do you really want to know? If I sat here and tell you all my credentials, like, do you really want to know? Do you really want to know my passion? Like, why I love people and what, you know, like, there's a huge difference, you know, instead of knowing, like, this is what I do, da, da, da. And it's like, okay.
Right.
Now, why do you do what you do? And it's just, and when we figure out the stories of people, you know, which I'll be doing really soon. I will be doing this stuff for We Global really soon. And I'm just like so passionate about it because I just want to hear the stories.
Right.
So much fun.
The power of the individual stories.
Yeah.
I love it. I love your enthusiasm and your passion. I can't think of anybody better for that lead ambassador role.
Thank
I know, I think you're just perfect. So this is the other fun thing that we're doing now. It's the quick round Q&A. I have got a list of like 7 or 8 questions, but I'm only going to choose maybe 3 or 4. I know it's, you know, you're spending your evening with us, so I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
But this is like, I'm going to ask the question that's right off the top of your head, just whatever rolls out. No, don't think about it. No, you know, just let's see what happens and where it goes.
Okay.
Okay, the first question that I will ask you is, if you had to choose one role model, who would it be? And it can't be friends or family.
Mother Teresa.
Ooh, okay. If you could have dinner with a real life hero, who would that be?
Martin Luther King. Oh, well, you said live? Does he have to be alive?
No, just one real life hero, like a real, you know. Okay. I think he fits that. Yeah, I think he fits that bill very nicely. Okay. What are the top 3 words that you use to describe yourself?
Oh, goodness. Energetic.
Yes.
Energetic, empowering, and I want to say loving life. I want to add 2 words to
Okay, that's good. I love
that.
it. And if, I don't know, let's see. Oh, okay, here's one. What is your personal definition of success, and have you achieved it?
My personal definition of success is knowing your divine purpose.
And I think I can answer the second part. Yes, you have. You've achieved it.
Yeah, it is. I mean,
I love it.
Really is. But I would love to share something that when just that word energetic,
Yeah.
I want to just really share what has really helped me grow and propel me. And it's the power of the spoken word. And when I say the power of the spoken word is affirmations.
Oh.
About 10 years ago, I put out words that I wanted to embody. And the words are, I am a powerful, energetic, influential leader. And I said it every day, every day, every day. I didn't feel it at all. Like there was nothing that I felt about those words. But I'm like, if I can own one of those words, like I know I would be fulfilled. And it's just incredible because I truly, like I said, it's the power of that spoken word. And I wake up, I'm a very energetic person. I'm just like, that's just incredible because I would just remember the power of those affirmations and I said, I want that. I'm going to own this thing. And that's why anybody out there, whatever, word you want to embody, whatever that is for you, speak the positivity, speak those words out, because before you know it, you will take ownership of it.
I love it. Oh, that's the perfect way, I think, to end this segment. Thank you, Sonia.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for spending this time with us. I think this has just been like, I feel re-energized. It's nice to have someone else who is on the same,
yeah.
It's just nice. It just feels so nice to connect in the same wavelength, and we understand each other, what we're saying, and we both use our hands a lot, and I just love it.
Oh, I know that.
I love it so much. But before I do let you go, could you share with everyone, and also maybe on our Confidence Strategies group page, where can they get your books? How do they get a hold of you? What's your website? If you could share all that information, and then I think that way people will have it. It'll live here on this video, and we don't want them to go away not knowing how to connect with you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Yeah. Well, you can actually get this book on Amazon, but you could also get it on my website as well, which is events@destinywomenglobal.com.
Okay.
Or I think it's events/destinywomenglobal.com. And then you'll have both of the books would be on there. And also my free webinar would be on there as well. And you can also go to my page, which is Destiny Women Global Leadership on Facebook. And then Sonia Hassey, Life Purpose Coach as well.
Yeah. Perfect. Thank you. And please do, like our Facebook group page is designed for all of this information, because we know that, someone might remember something 2 weeks from now. They know that it's on the show. They can go back to the page and find you, in case for whatever reason. So feel free to post whatever it is that you want to share, continue sharing with our community. Mm-hmm. It's small and it's growing. We've got YouTube viewers here. We've got people, and I'm going to send you this interview link afterwards, all of that. Okay. And so thank you so much, Sonia. I really enjoyed our conversation. And
good. I had a great time. Yes, I had a wonderful time. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I hope you have a great rest of your evening, Sonia.
Yes, I definitely want to relax.
Yeah, exactly. Now it's the end of the day officially.
Now it's official. Yes, exactly. Thank you so much for this opportunity.
Thank you. Bye.
Okay. Bye.
And thank you all for staying with us. She was one of our most energetic guests that we've ever had. I love her passion and her words and her story, and I was really happy that she got to join us. That was Sonia Hassey. She is the author of the book called Butt Naked. Wait, where is it? I want to get this right. Butt Naked Leadership. It's available on Amazon, and she will put some more of her information on our post below. So I guess that's really it for this evening. We did pretty good. We stayed under an hour, and that's really nice. I just, again, want to thank you all for spending your Tuesday evening with us. It's really nice to know that we have your continued support. Next week on Confidence Strategies 101, joining us is Mark Shihade. I hope I said that right. He said he was going to walk off the interview if I don't learn how to pronounce it. But he is also a life coach. So what I like about this back-to-back is that we're going to have different perspectives and different viewpoints from two life coaches. And that was done with a very, sort of calculated booking system that I have. I really am excited to talk to Mark next week. So tune in for that. And again, thank you to our sponsor, Music City Hit Factory. Thank you for allowing me to use the space while we are still building and developing another community project, which we will get into as soon as we can. You'll be one of the first groups to learn about what we're doing here at Music City Hit Factory. Thanks again. I'll see you next week, 7 p.m. Tuesday. Stay healthy, stay safe, and I hope we continue to evolve and grow and thrive together in a positive way on Confidence Strategies 101. I'm Carmen Milagro. Have a good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us. Bye-bye.